Welcome to another conversation in the FM Expert series. Today I am joined by who I am going to refer to as the GOAT of FM, the greatest of all time. I am joined by the one and only Martin Pickard, who I have been harassing for quite some time to join me on one of these conversations. So Martin, absolutely delightful to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth, and my apologies for it taking so long. That is down to me, but thank you for waiting.
Thank you for persisting. Yes.
Thank you for
Now,
persisting.
Martin has been, we were just discussing, working in and around FM for, we think, about 5 decades, for about 50 years. And you know, you've been operational, you've been a consultant, you've been a trainer, you've been a leader in FM, you've been a mentor. I'm going to hand over to you in a second to give us a sense of, you know, your journey in FM. But you're also going to share with us why we should be proud to be an FM. And I'm really looking forward to this. So let me hand over to you. Thank you, Martin.
Well, I mean, in terms of my journey, yeah. If you count being the long-haired spotty kid in the mailroom, then I started age 15, way back in 1969, in facilities management, and pretty much in one way or another, I was in. Of course, it wasn't called facilities management then. But one way or another, I was in the industry all the way through till I kind of retired in 2019. But I'm semi-retired because I'm still doing a bit of training and things here and there. And as you said, along the way, you know, I was a mailroom assistant. I was an assistant accommodation officer. I was an accommodation officer, a building manager, a site manager. You know, all the different titles that we gathered over the years. I was fortunate enough to become the head of FM for Cellnet when it started up as a mobile phone business. So that was huge because that became an enormous business. Then I moved supply side, ran some FM companies for a few years. Then I set up as a consultant and ran my company, which was FM Guru, for about 15 or 20 years probably. Alongside, I, you know, get my journey, you know, and why it's relevant to today, this history. First 5 years, maybe even the first 10 years, it was a job. You know, it was a job that I enjoyed because it was interesting and you weren't stuck behind a desk and you could wander about the building chatting to the secretaries, and you know, it was an interesting job. But the light bulb moment came for me with the birth of modern facility management via Frank Becker and Frank Duffy. And late 1970s, the penny clicked that FM was actually something to be proud of because we made a difference and we could do stuff. And I became very enthusiastic about that. And through the AFM and the IFMA and the BIFM and now the IWFM and the RICS.
It's all acronyms, isn't it?
But all the institutes and bodies and things that we've had over the years, got involved in all of them and trying to promote and publicise facilities management as a profession to be proud of. Looking back now at my career, I'm enormously proud of what we did over the years, me and all the people I worked with, including you. And enormously proud of where the industry and the profession is today and how it's still going, and the talented, enthusiastic young people. That's all of you.
Listening, not me. He's not talking to me here. I'm not the young one anymore.
Where they're taking it, but also there's an element of frustration that we still end up as a bit of a Cinderella thing, and it's partly self-inflicted. And that's what I kind of wanted to talk about today, given the opportunity.
And you've sort of framed it around 3 key things. which I think is really helpful. So kick us off with your first thing.
So 3 bits of advice. Number 1,
Yeah.
don't let people dismiss you as non-core.
Okay.
This core non-core thing has its place, but actually it's a nonsense in so many ways. I recall times when I was working at Cellnet, and I was in the senior management team, and I recall turning up at a meeting at 11 o'clock and walking into the room, and the table's covered with coffee cups and half drunk coffee cups and papers strewn about, and they've clearly been already working for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
I said, well, I thought the meeting was at 11. Oh, sorry, Martin, we had core business to deal with. And I'm like, oh, core business. Listen, me big power switch, you silly little telephone network.
Yeah. You wouldn't be sitting in this room, drinking this coffee, having the lights on, sitting in that chair if it wasn't for us. Yeah.
And we need to be, we need to remind ourselves, but we need to remind other people. We have to be the marketing department for our organisation. We are providing the power. We are providing the light, the space, the security access, the utilities, the compliance. Without any of those things, nobody else can do their job. The surgeons can't operate, the marketers can't market, the IT guys can't write their code. This is fundamental infrastructure, core infrastructure to any organization, and we are in charge of it, and we make sure that it works. And without that, none of them work. And we need to remind ourselves of that, and in subtle ways, we need to remind them of that.
I mean, I completely agree with everything you've just said, and you couldn't have said it more clearly. But I want you to go back to one point, which I think people really, really need to hear. And I say it on training courses all the time, which is around we need to market ourselves. We need to be our own PR department, don't we? And I think that's probably I think you've got some incredible FM teams doing incredible things, but they're not telling people. They're not PRing themselves. They're not marketing themselves. So I think around that, before I get you on your second point, around the marketing, is there anything you would just give as a top tip around that to how people can improve? I mean, it's a huge area, but.
Talk about a couple of things. One is, literally just telling people what you do. And that's why many people will know the mind map I drew of all the things that FMs do. And I know that's gone all over the world and thousands of copies and blah, blah, blah. Not updating it anymore. Apologies to folks. That's part of retirement. But that's why I do that. Just to people don't know you do this stuff. 80% of what you do, people don't know you're doing. So you have to tell them. And again, somehow, not tying them down and shouting at them, but letting them know, making it visible. There was the comedian Dara O'Brien did the IWFM conference one year. Don't know if you were there. And bless him, he did better than most of the comedians they get at these things, in that he actually did about 15 minutes on facilities management, rather than just saying doing the usual half an hour. And he got hold of the old definition of what FM is. And he said, so you manage the integration of He said, I don't know what that is. He said, but then I'm talking to people, he said, and I realize you're the fairies. You come in and spread the fairy dust around at night, and you put the stationery in the cupboard, and the photocopier paper in the photocopier, and the desks are all clean, and you come in and do that fairy stuff at night, and that's how come we can all do stuff. So it was nice for him to recognize it that way, but the fairies are invisible. It's like the ironing that magically appears in my wardrobe on a Monday. Somehow you just throw it on the floor and it ends up in the wardrobe. And it's magic. And we can't afford to be that. We mustn't. I've heard people, very earnestly saying we know we're right when we don't come up at all, when nobody notices us, because if they're noticing us, it means something's gone wrong. Yeah, but if you're
Yeah.
invisible, it means
Yeah.
you're not valued.
Exactly. I always say don't provide a secret service. What happened with COVID was suddenly people saw the cleaning happening, the maintenance happening, the people being around, and the level of respect increased. And then we've gone back again to nighttime and to out of hours. And I think you're right. I think that's one of the issues. Quickly, before I get you on your second point, where can people find the mind map now for people who haven't seen it? Because some people watching this won't have ever seen it, and they're going to go.
Uh, uh, there's a copy on my LinkedIn page.
Okay.
Um,
I'll share a
and
link anyway. I'll put a link
and
onto
if
this.
people
Okay.
want high resolution copies, they can contact me, and in
Okay.
exchange for a modest donation to Parkinson's UK,
Nice. I'll
then
make a note of that. Okay. Yeah. Perfect.
I'll share people a high resolution one
Nice.
for printing.
Nice. Love that. Okay. So what is number 2?
Well, so number 1 was don't let other people put you down. Number 2 is don't put yourself down.
Okay.
I shiver down my spine when I hear someone say, I'm just an FM.
Yeah.
Just?
Yeah.
What do you mean just? You're you're amazing. You're incredible. You're not only an FM. I'm only a building manager. That's crazy. You are awesome with incredible power. And I rattled off a list of the things that keep the business going. How about your ability, should you choose to pretty much kill, maim, or hospitalize every single employee in the organization? Nobody else in the business can give everybody salmonella, airborne infections, asbestosis, legionella, burn them to death in fire, flood them, electrocute them, give them norovirus, E. coli. I mean, your average marketing
Yeah,
manager.
maybe we don't put this on our marketing material though.
It's about the sheer importance of the role, not just the role. And there used to be a view, and I was told it when there was a side story. There was a short period in my career where I worked in personnel, because I thought it would be about dealing with people. Personnel, what is now called human resources. And it wasn't dealing with people. It was moving bits of paper from one side of a desk to another, and I hated it. Absolutely hated it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there was this guy, the accommodation officer, facilities management by any other name, wandering around with a clipboard, chatting to the secretaries, and having a good, doing useful stuff. So I went to the head of personnel and said, I want one of them jobs, and I was told, nobody asks for one of those jobs. That's where we put people who we can't work out what else to do with them.
Little do they know. And
that's crazy. And I still hear again.
Yeah.
If I'm running a training course now, someone will say, many people will say how they just fell into it.
Yeah.
Their other job had wound up. They were on a project that had finished, and there was a vacancy in FM, so they just got moved across. So it's like there's no structured plan for us. And yet, if we lack, and this is a big shout out for training. If we lack the training, the technical know-how, the professional skills, and we do a poor job, then salmonella, legionella, asbestosis. I mean, we really do. No accountant or software engineer or finance manager, has, no matter how much they screw up their job, people don't end up in hospital. And they do when we screw up. So this is an important job. You can't be just an FM.
Which is why it links back to your first point around you've got to market yourselves. I've done work with clients where they say, they've got one person looking after multiple buildings. They don't value the FM role. They're not resourcing. They're not paying properly. And I'll go in and they'll say, well, we don't need anyone else, do we? And I'll say, do you understand what the function is, what they should be doing? And then I do what you've just done. And then suddenly they recruit a regional facilities manager and suddenly they've got somebody doing this because they say we didn't understand it. And that's the problem. So it has to start with that PR explanation to then raise the profile. And like you say, the risk is so high, isn't it? Yeah.
You've got to understand the risks of doing it poorly or not
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
I'd also like you to understand the benefits of doing it well. And there's another whole call we can do sometime about the contributions that great FM can make to an organisation.
Yeah.
But that kind of takes me on my number 3 then, which is never apologise. In brackets with very small print, unless you've really, really screwed up. Close brackets. But facilities department would like to apologise for.
Yeah.
We apologise for the inconvenience caused.
Yeah.
I just detest those signs and things, because what are you apologising for? Why are you apologising for upgrading the canteen, for changing out poor quality lighting for more energy efficient, brighter, safer lighting? Why are you apologising for maintaining equipment so it's safe? You shouldn't be apologising for doing a good thing. Those are your opportunities to tell people what good stuff you're doing. So instead of we apologise that the lifts are going to be out of action tomorrow because we're carrying out essential maintenance, we are delighted to tell you that thanks to our commitment to your safety, our expert engineers will be maintaining. And you don't say, and you don't do all that and then finish it off at the end by apologising. Do all of that and finish off at the end by, we thank you for your cooperation while this is carrying out. And I learned a magic trick, and it took me a long time, but replacing sorries with thank yous always works. It's brilliant. It works at work. It works at home. How about...
I'm trying to think of a sentence. I've not done this.
How about... okay, so... sorry, Steve, I've had to leave you to washing up because I've got a call to do. So much better to say, Steve, thanks so much for stepping up and doing the washing up for me tonight. It was really important that I did that call. Which one makes Steve feel better? Which one accurately represents the situation? So it doesn't matter whether it's at work or at home, but definitely at work. FM, you do not want the reputation for the people who are constantly having to apologise for everything they do. You want to be saying loud and proud, we're maintaining, we're fixing, we're upgrading, we're keeping you safe. These are your marketing moments.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Yeah, absolutely are.
Unless, of course, you've completely screwed up, really, really screwed up, and then you step up like a professional and you apologise right away.
And never say, please bear with me, please bear with us. I hate that.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you for your cooperation. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah. We're excited to share this new space with you. Yeah, we can't wait to show you what we've done. Yeah, absolutely.
It's completely illogical for us to be apologising for doing good things. And yet it's happening right this minute. An FM somewhere has got an email in their drafts that's got "we apologise" in it. And it's actually the people reading it don't even believe the apology, because it's the same repetitive apology that they hear every morning on the railway station coming out of the tannoys. Thameslink really aren't sorry. We all know Thameslink really aren't sorry. But I wouldn't mind it if Thameslink said, thank you for your patience.
Yeah.
Quite so much.
Can we do another 25 rather than just 3 things, please? Can we add to this? I am joking. I know, not today, but genuinely, it's crazy, isn't it? How those 3 what seem very simple, very obvious things, I guarantee will get everyone listening to this to have a moment like I just have, because I've been learning from you, as I always do, going, oh yeah, yeah, that's a really good point. And this is people who've been in FM for, decades. So never, the other thing I think is really important is never assume that even the simple things shouldn't be repeated. Because what you've shared with us is quite straightforward, but it's just so important because people won't be doing it, Martin, which is why you are the GOAT.
Put yourself down, don't let other people put you down, and never apologize.
Yeah,
those are those are great rules.
They are absolutely amazing rules. For those of you listening, I said to Martin ages ago, I feel like we should do a little mini series with Martin's top tips, and I think perhaps this could be the first. I hugely value your knowledge, and as a trainer myself, genuinely, I always say to people, you never stop learning, and every time we have a conversation, I learn something from you. So I have thoroughly enjoyed this, and it's far too short, but thank you, Martin. Thank you for your knowledge. Thank you for sharing it, and thanks for your time today.
Yeah, that was good work.
Thank you.